Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me if I don't use that microphone? Can you all hear me in the back? No? No, this is just for the recording thing. Do I have to, can you hear me now? You didn't realize this is a Verizon commercial. Okay, so I'm a loan originator. I do residential mortgages. So what's that got to do with you all? Probably nothing, but what I really do is I'm a salesperson. Are all of us in sales? Is everybody in sales? Yes. Even if you're not a salesperson, are you really in sales? Okay, what type of business are we really in? Who just said that? Okay. I've been dying to do this. I was a guest here 3 months ago, and this chick that spoke gave me a $5 chip, and I'm thinking, what am I ever going to do with that thing? So the first one to answer said it, gets the $5 chip. Now the turd's in your pocket, so to speak.
Hey, this is for the startup.
It's still good. So we're in the people business. We're in the people business, gang. We're in the people business. What do we do with people? This is a crowd participation. What do we do with people? We make them feel good, right? We have to first understand what business that we're in. When I speak in front of people, first of all, I want to apologize. I move around a lot. I get excited. I get fairly passionate. And if you're in front of me, you're probably going to get spit on. I'm just letting you know now. So we're in the people business is what we do. The challenge is when we're in the people business and we're out there, we don't know what success looks like. Who here, I'm not going to ask you to give it to me, but who here has a definition of success? Did you have one?
No.
I speak to people all the time. Did you have one?
Meeting your personal goals.
Meeting your personal goals. Okay, that's not bad. I have spoken to a few people in my career. Nobody's got a definition for success. Do you know why? Because it's different for all of us. Yes? No? Some people it might be to be, become an ordained pastor to change a lot of people's lives. Some it might be to make $1 million a year. So one's to have their child get out of whatever they're in. I mean, there's so many different definitions of success. The problem is in business, we don't know what it is, and we don't have a plan. Just by a raise of hands, I'm in the mortgage business, okay? I do residential mortgages. I have a business plan, believe it or not. How many of you all have a business plan written down, and read it once a month? Not just have it written down, but you read it once a month. 1, 2. Wow, I'm impressed. 3. That actually shocks me. Most people don't know what they're doing. How do you know what success is? How do you know what you're going to do if you don't have a plan? What are you shooting for? It's amazing to me. Not that I'm saying that you have to. I'm just saying to be successful and to put big numbers up, you got to know what you're doing. To me, let me tell you what my business plan is, okay? I'm going to break it down really quick and easy. We get leads from realtors to do mortgages and people to do a refinance. And this is the second time in the year I've spoken with a microphone. This is so awkward for me. I apologize. Because usually I'm so loud, people they can hear me. The people that we get on a consistent basis, I have to get 4 new leads per day to meet my goals, which is my goals. It's not my staff, right? Because y'all have people that work with you. They're not salespeople, right? They just want a paycheck. I'm 100% commission. So I have my goals. I got to get 4 new leads a day because I understand that with this number of leads, this many people can qualify for a mortgage loan. And if this many people qualify for a mortgage loan, these many people are actually going to buy a house. So at the end of the day, I know how many deals I'm going to close, and it all breaks down to how many leads I get every day. If I don't have 4 leads at the end of the day, what do you guys think I do? Right? I have a plan for what I do if I don't have 4 leads at the end of the day. If it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't have 4 leads, I know what I like that. Start drinking. That's not a bad idea, but I don't drink. That's actually funny. So here's what I figured out in sales. If you're going to be a good salesperson, you're really going to be good at one thing. the thing we just talked about, you're in the people business. I chase relationships. I don't chase money. If you chase relationships, the money will come. I have figured out at the young age of 53, however, I'm 50-some. My wife could tell you. My wife could tell you everything. You know what's amazing? I don't remember other stuff because my wife remembers everything for me. Every time we get in an argument, it's like a history lesson. Right, women? Or I should say, right, guys? So the reality is, I can't believe I just said that out loud. Is this being recorded? I guess that's what this thing's for. I'm going to hear that next time my wife sees this. I just lost my train of thought here. Okay, so here's how the sales business works. It's three things. Good to see you, sir. It's three things, okay? Please think about this for a second. People know you, right? How do people know you? Because you're visible. Visibility is everything in the sales business. It's everything. After people know you, then they have to like you. If they like you, then they have to trust you. Who do people do business with? People they trust. People that they trust. It's really that simple. They don't do business with people that they don't trust. Would you all agree with that? Especially in our business, any financial services. The challenge is how long does it take to gain trust with somebody? What's your reputation? It's your trust, right? It takes a long time to get a good reputation and the blink of an eye to ruin it. Anybody ever had that happen to them? And you do something that makes somebody mad and they'll remember it forever. People don't remember what you said to them most of the time, but they remember how they felt when you left. There's a famous person that said, I really honestly don't know who did that, but now it's mine because I've said it more than 3 times, so now I own it. People don't remember what you said, they remember how they felt. I don't meet most of my clients until we actually go to the title company and they sign their loan docs. How many people do you all meet? How many of your clients do you usually meet face to face? Most of them, right? In your all's businesses? Okay? You have a different advantage that I don't because once you get in front of people, the sale is easier. I have disadvantages. My 2 disadvantages of, and again, let's just call a spade a spade. I'm not attractive, right? I'm not like that video guy that looks like a male model. You know, if I looked like him, I would do more business. Y'all are laughing. I'm serious, right? I'm not some hot-looking chick, and that actually gets you business. It really does. I don't have that. Number 2, I'm not smart. I've never been accused of being smart. Right? It's not like somebody came along, ooh, that guy's smart. They can't accuse me of that. I don't have any college degrees. I don't have anything. Why is it that I still do a lot in sales? Why is it that I rank in the top 1% of loan originators in the United States? I get asked this all the time. I was just in Washington, D.C. last week, and I spoke in front of a bunch of guys, and after I left, the owners came to me and said, Mark, that was the best talk we've ever had. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, you're so relatable. Everybody feels like they're smarter than you. And I'm thinking, dude, if I'm doing it, surely they can do it, right? I mean, y'all think I'm joking. I'm serious as a heart attack. It's not how smart you are. It's how much people trust you. People have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. Once you get their trust, it's vitally important that you don't drop it on the floor. It breaks just like an egg. Yes? No? I want you all to think about somebody that you've done business with. I remember a story about the top Toyota salesman in the entire United States. I read the stupid story. I'm thinking, what? This guy sells Toyota cars. He never sold a car. If you ask the people that I get business from, I just had this conversation in D.C. They so much disagreed with me. I have never gone to a real estate agent and said, hey, can you send me a deal? Do you have any deals? What do I do after to get your business? And they said, you don't ever ask for business? And I said, why? Why? I think I'm the only salesperson that says you don't have to ask people for business. People give me their business because they trust me. How many of you all have always been taught to be good at sales, you have to ask for the business? Yes? Right? I'm sure that I've lost deals. I'm positive I have. But I'm also positive that I've picked up more deals than my, people. I just met with a guy about 2 weeks ago. He said, I want you to come talk to me about business. I said, okay. I mean, he asked me as a real estate agent. Usually I'm out there asking a realtor if I can meet with them. He asked me to come meet with him. I go down to his office. We sat there, and at the end of the deal, he said, I just want to get my fair share. And I said, dude, my fair share is bigger than everybody else's share. It's a zero-sum game. Right? Y'all know what a zero-sum game is? It means if I'm going to compete with this gentleman here for business, one of us is getting paid. The other one's not. In my business, I can't share the commission. When I go to meetings with other mortgage people, I sit there and I have two thoughts. The first one is I always look around and I say, wow, this is my competition? Right? I actually feel kind of bad for them. Because I look at them and I think, you know what? They're here for the dollar. They're trying to make a buck. And the reality is if you're looking at a customer and all you see is a dollar sign on their forehead, you don't think that they understand that? You don't think that they see that? They do, I promise you. You have to chase the relationships and the money will come. 3 things. People have to know you, they have to like you, they have to trust you. There's going to be a quiz on that later. Had a phone call about 1.5 years ago. Never forget this. I don't sleep a lot. I'm one of these weird people. I get about 5 hours every night, but when I go to bed, I am O-U-T out. I don't care what you're doing. It ain't going to wake me up. But 5 hours later, I wake up and I'm just like I am right now. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I just had some iced tea. So I always drink water. So when I drink some iced tea, I'm like zing. And that's what you guys get to witness right now. So here's the deal. I don't sleep. This guy knows it. He's a friend of mine. He calls me at 10 o'clock at night. My wife wants to know who's calling at 10 o'clock at night. So I'd explain to her, this guy, I know from church and everything. And he asked me, he called me, he says, Mark, I need to know, my wife and I are sitting here talking. They're in bed and we're talking about different things. And she said, you know what? Why don't you call Mark Baker? And I'm thinking, this guy's in bed with his wife and he's calling me. What are we talking about? I swear that was my first thought. Second thing was he said, Mark, I want to know what it takes to be successful. My heart dropped for a second and I thought, why me? Why does he think that I'm successful? What is it that my actions are that he thinks I'm successful? He hasn't gotten a loan from me. I know him from my church. And after I got over that and became back to reality, because I was so flattered somebody would ask me that, I said, well, in any business, I think it's the same thing they have to do in sales. He says, what is it? And I said, just 3 things. I don't have anything written down. I came up with these. I know, because I understand it. Number 1, you have to be passionate. You must be passionate. I am so passionate about helping people. It's absolutely sickening at times because all I want is somebody to do better. I want people to win. Do you have the attitude when you're talking to a customer or a client or what do you guys call them? Clients? I call them borrowers. I call them, some good salespeople call them friends. Do you just want them to win? Or do you want to make a buck? Are you trying to sell something that's got the highest commission? In my career, you know how many of those pay option arms that we did? The ones that supposedly crashed the market? Don't get me started on that. The ones that supposedly crashed the market. Do you know how many of those loans we did? I've been doing this now for 16 years. I lived through it. I maybe did a dozen of them. You know why I did those loans? Because people called me and said, Mark, you don't understand. I'm going to get this loan. Either you're going to do it or I'm going to go somewhere else. And after me talking them out of it, and they said, Mark, I'm getting the loan. Well, at some point, you got to give them what they want, right? Even if you don't believe in the product. The reality is, I didn't think it was a good product. It's a great product for the certain person, especially if you're in the financial services. If they could take their portfolio and they can leverage it, it all makes sense to me. But most of the people that were looking with that, they were crappy borrowers, right? They didn't need that stupid loan. They didn't know what they were doing. And I don't know one of them today that still has their house, by the way. So what was I talking about, the three things? Actually, there's four. Passion, integrity. Let's define integrity. Just so you know my definition. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody else is looking. Okay? So when you're out playing golf, you always have that extra golf ball in your pocket in case you hit it in the rough or whatever. I'm just joking. That's not integrity. Integrity is when I can look my kids in the eye and say, you know what, son, I'm not going to lie to you. This is the deal. And it hurts. And it hurts me. And when my kid's not around and I scratch somebody's car, I got to leave a note on the car. It's integrity. I got to be able to lay my head on the pillow at night knowing that I did the right thing when nobody else was looking. There was no way I was going to get caught. Because I tell you what, I have seen so many people that one time and you get caught, what's that do to trust? I heard two different people whisper, gone. Gang, it is gone for your lifetime. People will remember that until hell freezes over and pigs fly. That will remember it. It's integrity. The last thing is tenacity. When I tell a borrower I'm going to get him a mortgage, and then something goes sideways, okay, they're trying to buy a house. I damn well better figure it out. I gave them my word, we're going to do this. This real estate agent, they're planning on spending this stupid commission that I've already promised them. I got to figure it out. If you tell a client something and you go back on your word, gang, where's the trust you? It's gone. You have to listen. That's the last thing. There were four things. The last thing is you have to listen. How many of us listen to a client and then we turn around and sell them something or put them in a product or whatever, and you find out later, you know what, they're not happy with you, they're not happy with your firm, they're not happy with your assistant or whatever. You didn't listen to them. You understand what I'm saying? Especially it's late in the day. I don't know about you all, but when it's late in the day, you know, everybody runs and gets a Starbucks around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because they start doing this number at their desk and they're tired and the client calls and this lady's talking about 17 different things and you're thinking, oh, do I have to listen to this lady? At the end of the deal, you're getting ready to hang up. I don't know about you all, but I found out the tireder I am, the stupider people are. Right? Are y'all laughing because you think it's funny or you've experienced that? It's important that you're listening to them, and if you're not, say, listen, I've got an appointment. Let me call you back as soon as I take a shot of 5-hour energy or whatever you're going to do. But you got to listen to them. If you're not listening to them, how can you be passionate, and how can you have integrity, and how can you have tenacity? It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. I'm going to tell you right now what I think the silver bullet to being the greatest salesperson is. I believe this from the core of my body. If you guys don't, if you can't, here's the thing. If you're a salesperson, do we all work out of a calendar? Yeah. Right? Do we all work off of a list of things to do? Right? Most of us do. I know somebody in my life that just doesn't get that. Why would you make a list? Just do it then. Well, then why did you forget those 17 things last week, honey? I guess I just gave that one away. But my point being is this. I'm brutally honest. You guys, what you see is what you get. I'm sorry. Here's the reality. The silver bullet to being successful. You might want to take a guess. The magic bullet, the silver bullet. It's not what, I've asked this question many times. Do you know there's like some female thing called the silver bullet? What I did not know, but I learned in front of a bunch of people just like this. So it was the most embarrassing thing for me. Yes, sir, please.
Understanding the client's need.
Understanding the client's need. Anybody else?
Never quit.
Doing what you say you're going to do. Very good. Never quit. Here's what I think it is. Discipline. Discipline. We all know what we need to do, but it's on our list again tomorrow. And it's on your list again next Monday. Look at y'all. Oh, that guy's so right. Unbelievable. Guys, it's discipline. I work off of a list to do, but guess what? I work at night to put things on the list, and the next day I work to get it off the list. When I lay my head at the pillow at night, I had one thing every day. One thing every day I say to myself, okay, off my list, if I get nothing else done today, this thing needs to get done. How many, I don't want to ask this because I will embarrass somebody. Most of us have something on our list of things to do. One of them is major. It needs to get done. It's filing your taxes for 2012, right? It's having a hard talk with your assistant, right? It's calling that borrower and telling them that the product you sold them, put them in whatever, it didn't work, and it's a hard conversation. By the way, bad news does not get better with time. If you got something bad to tell somebody, tell them tonight. Tell them today. It ain't going to get better tomorrow. Boy, look at y'all. Some of you are like, wow, I'm feeling good right now. The reality is discipline is what it takes. Whenever you put that one thing on your list, gang, I get it off every day. If not, I put my kids to bed and I go back to work to get it off my list. To me, I have to know that tomorrow morning when I wake up, I've got something different to work on because that big thing that was important came off my list. Is this making sense to everybody? I think it's discipline, doing what you said you're going to do, the tenacity, all this is right, but when you have it on your list and you don't get it done, you've ruined the trust of somebody, most likely. Yes? How many people have had a borrower? How many people have had a client that you said, listen, well, I'm going to check this out, I'm going to run these numbers, I'm going to put this spreadsheet together, whatever, and I'll get it to you. Give me a couple days. Have we all done that? When you say give me a couple days, to me, when I tell you that, that means by the end of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow, not a couple of days, because if we make these small little promises and then we always exceed their expectations, guess what? Know you, like you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense to everybody? Does this make sense to anybody? Okay? You've got to be able to do that. People do business with who? People that you trust, right? Where do you get your referrals? How many of y'all do cold calls? Some of you? Right? None of you? Yes? This is no. This is Mark. I'm starting to get tired. Okay? I'm telling you, I've done cold calls. I'm sorry, man. Cold calling sucks. It sucks. It sucks back crap off of cave walls, man. It's the worst. It is the worst. Why do we cold call? That was a good one. I got 100 of them. I really do. Why do we cold call? Why do you cold call? I've never understood cold calling. I did it for a while, and I'm thinking, this sucks. I don't cold call. I only talk to people that I know and that they like me and that they, guess what? They will refer you people. And if they're going to refer you people, what type of people do they refer to you? People like them. Who said that? Very good. I wish I had another $5 chip.
So do I.
Dang. Hold on.
I already put it away.
I'll just take that $5 bill.
No, I don't.
Okay, turd's in your pocket now.
All right.
The showboat. Okay, don't put it away because you might not have it long. Where was I? That was totally unexpected. I'm like ADD too. What did I just say? Connectors. People, where do they get their business? People that are like them. Here's what I've noticed. Tell me if I'm wrong here in your business. If I have a borrower that's got $100,000 in the bank, they've got 750 FICO scores, they're going to put 25% down, they're going to buy a primary residence, they've got a job making $100,000 a year. Who are their friends? It's their friends. They're all running around in circles the same. They're not hanging out with the people out in, I gotta watch what I say. They're not hanging out with people that are making $30,000 a year and have bad credit and 3 foreclosures, normally. And when they say, hey, listen, you need to call Mark Baker. If you're going to get a loan, call this guy. Do you know what their friend says? Okay. That's what they say. And guess how many times those are real borrowers? Every single time. But yet we're sitting here cold calling people. We don't even know who they are. Gang, I don't know about you all, but the people that do that, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like beating your head up against the wall. The only difference is you're just going to get a bloody head. You're not going to get any business from them. You're calling people, you got to know where your clients come from. You must know where your clients come from. And they refer people that they trust. This last thing, I've got a whole talk on this. I talked to executives about it. I'm just going to cover it real briefly. It's a thing called the magic number. Most of you have probably never heard the magic number except for Mahesh. I've got this theory. This theory is that we all have this magic number. And this magic number is the stuff in your life that you need to put in the rearview mirror. Okay? I've never witnessed anybody that can drive down the road looking through the rearview mirror. We all have something on our list, whether it's that hard conversation, whether it's a tax lien, whether it's a bankruptcy that we've got, whatever it is, you've got to have a hard conversation with your spouse. You've got to do something. Talked to a guy the other day, he's got an $1,800 a month RV payment. When's the last time you think you drove that RV? It's been over 2 years. He rents it out. I mean, I could go into the long story. I spent 45 minutes on the phone with this guy. Did not talk about mortgages. Never had a discussion about a mortgage. Do you think I'll get a referral from that guy? You bet your life I will. Because I'm his friend and he trusts me. At the end of the day, I said, his name's Chris. I said, Chris, let me ask you a question. You've got this $1,800 payment on this motorhome. You and your family have had an incredible time for 10 years. His kids are now older. You know, they're in baseball and they're doing all these different things. Do you think about this in the middle of the night? He said, what do you mean? I said, when you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, they call it in Asia, they call it the hour of the rat, I think is what somebody said in Asia, right? Is that right, Mahesh? The hour of the rat. In Asia, that's when the middle of the night, when everybody's sleeping and the rats are running around there doing everything. At the hour of the rat, what is it that you think about that keeps you awake? When you get up to go to the bathroom at 3 in the morning and you go back to bed and you can't go to sleep, right? When you drove here today and were not on the cell phone, what'd you think about? What's the problem that you've got when you drove to work this morning? What is it that you need to get off your plate and moving forward? When I first started talking about this and you all started getting it, everybody in this room, you kind of glazed over. This happens every time. But I really do need to put this together in a book. It's a 2 or 3 hour talk. The bottom line is this. Take the number one thing on your list, the easiest thing that you got to get behind you. Get it off your plate tomorrow. A few of you are doing this. Here's what I've noticed in sales. You take that magic number, which is 3, 4, 5, 6 things, whatever it is. You get that down to 1. You come and see me if your income doesn't double. I promise you. It will double because you can think clearer. You can set goals. When you talk to clients, it's totally different. Your life will change. Your relationships with your family becomes better. Everything happens. This is sales. If I'm not thinking right, how can I help this girl when she calls me and asks me for a mortgage? Yes? No? Yes. Would you all agree with that? Okay? Let me talk about some specifics. Database. There are people in sales that don't have a database. I feel like that ought to be enough. People in sales don't have a database. Every time I talk to a client, Every time I talk to a client, I type the conversation in about what we talked about. Even if it's got nothing to do with a mortgage. I link all of my clients. I know where the referral came from. I've got to have a database. Number 2, daily prospecting. Here's my prospecting. I call people that have referred me other deals. And when I call them, guess what I'm talking to them about? Whatever's going on in their life. I was talking to a guy last week. He's getting ready to go mountain climbing. I don't even know where. I don't mountain climb. Somebody in here does. I think it's cool, but I'm not in. It's like going to the gym. You know, I put a new, over my bathroom door, I put JIM. My wife said, why are you doing that? I said, because I'm going to tell everybody I go to the gym every morning now. That's my new deal. That's a good one. So this guy was talking about going mountain climbing. You know what? When he talked about it, it was a 5-minute conversation. I was looking at him thinking, dude, you're weird. This is cool. He is so passionate about it, it's unbelievable. One of my phone calls yesterday was, I called the guy at the office, and I said, how was it? Tell me about it. How long do you think that conversation was? Okay, I'm telling you, this guy can climb a mountain. Do you think that he likes me? Do you think he trusts me? Here's the key. Do you think I really care about mountain climbing? I don't. Do you think I care about him? That's sales. I will talk to borrowers. I will talk to realtors that tell me about little Muffy and she hurt her little paw and she's got to take her to the vet and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you can tell that this person has got a problem with Muffy. Right? That person would like nothing more than to get a call from somebody 2 or 3 days later saying, other than the veterinarian who's saying, hey, do you need to bring Muffy back in and get some more pills? Right? But if I called or sent an email and said, listen, Mrs. Johnson, how's Muffy doing? Is everything okay? When you do that, you become this much closer to Mrs. Johnson. She's a connector. She trusts me. Do I care about Muffy? No. Do I care about Mrs. Johnson? I do. She's a friend. She is a friend. Do you think that she will refer me people? This is a true story. About 2 months ago, I was looking through my LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn much, but I was looking through my LinkedIn because there was this guy, I couldn't remember his name, blah, 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 and I knew this time was up, and I couldn't find him in my calendar. Excuse me. So I was going through my LinkedIn because I thought I remembered him, so I go through his name started with an S. Okay, his last name. Do you think I had to look through my entire LinkedIn connection thing? Yes? No? You guys are like, wow. I looked through my entire LinkedIn connection thing, and there were a few people that I hadn't talked to in a while. I sent some emails out. 2 of them I called. The next week, by the way, I do breakfasts. Nothing against y'all. I just don't do lunches. The reason I don't do lunches is because when I get to the office, I'm working. The last thing I want to do is leave in the middle of the day to go have lunch and drive back. I've just shot 2 hours of my day. But if I have breakfast in the morning with somebody, their phones are not ringing. What are they usually thinking about? Their magic number 1, right? What do I get to hear about when we're at breakfast? Their magic number 1. What do I have to talk to them about next time I call them? If I help them solve that problem, guess who became their best friend in the world? Gang, I have had people tell me about things that range from, we're having marital problems and nobody knows but you, Mark, please don't say anything to anybody, to, it's unlimited. To make a long story short, I scheduled breakfast 2 weeks after that with 4 of the people on that LinkedIn thing. Just because I hadn't talked to them a long time. Not real estate agents. Just 4 people that were friends. Within 2 weeks, every single one of them referred me a mortgage. Every single one. I just got together with them to talk and see what's happening. I had no intent to get mortgages. Is this making sense to you all? Yes? No? This is yes? Gang, have breakfast with people. The magic number's up here in their head. And you know what? If you're sitting there and you're talking to them, they'll tell you about it. It's sometimes you're walking away thinking, man, I wish you wouldn't have told me that. But that's what happens. Next thing, follow-up calls. If you were to go look at my calendar right now, my calendar is booked solid for the next 2 or 3 weeks. After that, it's not very busy. Breakfasts are always booked up. I got my meetings and stuff. Do you know why it's booked all the time? Because I do nothing but make follow-up calls. Here's the key to being successful in getting people's business and doing things. The lady that spoke a couple months ago, what was her? Well, she spoke about sales call reluctance, right? Do we all have sales call reluctance? Yes or no? We do. Thank you for admitting that. I do. If I'm calling something to sell somebody to sell something to them, I don't have sales call reluctance. I'm not calling to sell anybody anything. I'm calling to be their friend. I'm calling because I've got a product or a service. To me, they want to buy a home. I've got a great home loan. I can make it simple and effortless. I know what we're doing more than anybody else in the state of Nevada. The statistics prove it. If you're calling somebody, if you had a good friend who's got a daughter and they're getting ready to go away to school and they needed a car, and you had another friend who's a multi-gazillionaire and he said, Mark, listen, I got this car. I just need to get it out of the driveway. You know anybody that needs one? If you called your friend to say, listen, friend, you're not going to believe this. I got a car for free. Your daughter needs one. Would you have a problem making that phone call? Would you? Nobody would have a rough time making that phone call. Nobody. That's what you should feel like you're doing when you're calling people. You should be calling to help them solve their problems. What value do you bring? If you're calling just to put a buck in your pocket, then I can see where you would have some sales call reluctance. Make sense? You with me? We'll cover a couple things here and get off the main stage here. Set expectations. Gang, in my business, we always set expectations. If you're going to open an account for somebody, you got to tell them how it's going to work. You got to communicate. If you can't set the expectations, how are you going to meet their expectations? Ask the borrower what their expectations are. If they're in line with yours, terrific. If they're not, tell them what the expectations are. Otherwise, they're going to be pissed off. They will, every single time, I promise you. And guess what happens when they get pissed off? They do not trust you anymore. Couple last things. Reviews and testimonials. I think hope you have a place for that. Guys, image is so important. I've got a lot of friends that have never seen me in anything other than what I've got on right now. I don't see a lot of clients. I wear a shirt and a tie and slacks and black shoes and black socks every day. Because when I meet that person, I have one shot to make a first impression, and they're trusting me with their money. I better make a good first impression. Okay? When people talk to you, guess what they do when they hang up? They get on their computer and they Google your name. Do they or do they not? What do they find? Guess that's enough said on that one. Gang, when they do it, they better find your email address and your phone number on the internet somewhere. Not a thing that says, hey, contact me and it sends you an email. They want your email address, gang. They don't want to fill out a contact me form. They don't know where that's going. just so you know. Google yourself today, please. Google me. Do me a favor, please. And I sincerely mean this. My name is Mark Baker, M-A-R-K, Baker, B-A-K-E-R. My middle initials, A as in apple. Go home and Google Mark Baker or markabaker.com. I've got this stupid rinky-dink website set up, and I've gotten Zillow reviews. We don't buy leads from Zillow because I don't believe in the site, which is, don't get me started on that. But the bottom line is this. I've got 95 Zillow reviews. We get business because people go to that stupid website, and it takes them to Zillow, and they go, oh, this must be the guy. What do they find when they Google you? Last thing, real quick. I do this thing called site visits. Okay? What this is this. I go to a top originator in the United States, and I go see what they're doing. I usually try to do it out of town. Why do I do that? If they're successful, do you think they're probably doing something different than me? I don't know. Is it worth me to find out? If I'm not their competition, when you call people and say, listen, I think you're good, you do the audit numbers, blah, 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 and you build them up and you ask them if you can come visit with them, you know what they usually say? What's a good time? I've met with the #1 originator in the United States. I've told people this all over the country, and they look at me and go, you're kidding me. I said, man, you need to do this. Why wouldn't you do it? I mean, to me, somebody told me that, man, I was on that like a hobo on a ham sandwich, man. I thought that was the greatest idea. Why wouldn't you go do that? I hope that something that I've said today resonates with a couple of you. I don't know if it does or not. I would encourage you to not sell a product. I would encourage you to sell yourself, and when you're talking to clients, listen to what they're saying. Trust me, they will tell you about something else in their life. And if you will email them and call them and talk to them later about it, if you don't have referrals, something's not right. Gang, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to come.